basically, this is a publication that reflects about 30 years of my life, and it's a testimony to, for me, the struggle of what we sometimes refer to as the human spirit in a people and a family of relatives and friends yearning to survive in a very complex world of social constructs, norms, and orders that are not necessarily of our choosing. It is also a documentation for me, and hopefully for many people who are not familiar with our history, a documentation of our history both on a personal level and on a general level. And it's also a book where I was able to publish some of the poems that pay homage to some of our great artists who not only contributed to the evolution of their art form, but to this American experience that I think is very important and shouldn't be forgotten. And finally, of course, it's a book of my poetry that reflects my story and my odyssey and my travel, reflecting a lot of conflict, some confusion, growth, of course, and eventual serenity that I feel I finally have come to, thanks to coming back to the Lord and understanding what struggle is and what it means to me. So with that, just like to give those kind of examples to just of this poem, and the poem to myself in my days in my youth in Harlem. Many men have glared over your pain. They watch you in rigor mortis, stiffing the stroll. And as police glaze your stallion turned stable, you live in hallways grizzled by that flower. See the streets juice back their history. Remember the 50s? Our elders jumping salty, cause your knobs were buckling. Oh Jody, your song is blues, like Red Garland's fingers dancing on the main drag of many tears, your spirit howls. Look towards that Stormville. In Greenhaven, Julio is you. Now they call you Sender, Shiv, inspiring excitement. And when Shep blows the charge, in a wheelchair we come to write another chapter, Attica. You know, my life from my birth up to the time in mid-1970s when I started working at a place called the Wiltwick School for Boys. It's where the boxer Patterson.
What page?
I'm on page 2, the first poem.
Oh, first.
Okay. If some of you are familiar with Mike Tyson and Floyd Patterson, Wiltwick was the place where they were, the home or the children's center that they were placed when they were young. And it had a rich history. It was founded by Eleanor Roosevelt, the wife of Franklin D. Roosevelt. And it's interesting that Tyson and Patterson came from different eras in that period, and interesting what that end product ended up being from the different eras. But I worked there as a poet in residence, and so this reflects my birth, my teenage, and my life, my adult life at that moment. It's called maturation. Born from a womb, fixed 18 degrees north of the equator, I was mistaken for a crazy woman's child. Mother laughed as she told the tale. We migrated on my 40th day. Across the Atlantic we stagecoached, peeping through clouds, huge apple conditions, horse gallops. Mine is cold turkey. I gobble words. The militant obscenities vomit. Buttons on an applejack. Wet pavement, wheelchair Beirut, the automatic weapon. Children unload like calves at a rail yard. They run into cottages, doors closing behind them, steam. The bathroom tiles scream sodomy. Graffiti rapes the hallways. The dim lights offer silhouette. The counselor screws. The violet ones attack the night watchman. Night playing hushed song of darkness. Grass burning fingertips. Jazz. One of the things I'm very proud of course, is the race that we're part of, and that's part of the African diaspora. And I wrote this short piece dedicated to my sister's children, my nephew, and my godson, Richard David and Charles Oscar Moore. And I wrote it to them when they were small, and I wrote it in a manner that in their youth they could understand. It's called Afro-Boricuaism. Once the clouds stopped crying, the sun became a native son to the earth. Later they married, gave birth to stars that make the Milky Way.